Very faintly, but I hear you very clearly.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'll leave it. So if
So
that's
you're
okay.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're coming in, you're coming very clear. So
Okay.
you see where it says record
Oh
in the
yeah.
upper. Okay.
Yeah.
So that just shows that we started the meeting,
Okay.
or the conversation or whatever you want to call it. So the first thing I'm just going to ask you is just so you for our recording, so if you could just tell me your name
Sure.
and what you do, and then I'll start to ask some questions.
Okay. So my name is Gretchen Goldsworthy, and I am co-owner of Wine Dads in Hoboken, and I also work as a professional fit model in the city in Manhattan.
Great.
That's it.
So,
Yeah.
um, so I'm going to start out with just like, so how are you handling things?
Um, I have to say, not so bad. I haven't been 100% locked in the house because I'm working in the store. So I feel like that has helped because there's activity and some kind of purpose. And so that helped a lot because I wasn't really feeling isolated at all. But I feel like the store has slowed down a lot. I think a lot of people have left Hoboken. At least that's what my sense is. It feels much quieter here. So
Yes.
I haven't been needed as much at the store. I've been spending more time in the house. And I have to say, I haven't minded it because it it's brought me back to when I was a kid, and I spent so much time in my room, like listening to records and uh, doing crafts. I'm a big like I always like to have a project. So last week I propagated, all my plants. I have this big snake plant. I like divided it into 5 plants. I like took clippings off all of my plants. I've been watching YouTube videos. I'm making stuff for the store. So there's part of me that this is fun. I'm kind of okay right now. It hasn't gotten to the point that I feel like, I can't entertain myself. And of course, I've done some video stuff with other people, friends. We'll do like a video cocktail hour, a few times a week. I'll kind of connect with other people, my friends. And I feel like some of my friends I've actually seen more because it's so easy just to hop on, a chat for an hour and, have a cocktail and then go about your evening. Whereas to actually meet for an hour is not an hour, it's a whole evening. So I feel like I've been able to connect with other people more than you normally would in your busy days. So the big thing I do miss is just being more active outside. That's the big thing for me because we don't have any outdoor space in this apartment. So that I would say that's the biggest thing that I've missed right now.
Have you walked around Hoboken, and if you have, does it feel and look different to you?
Definitely quieter. It's definitely quieter. I feel like now more people are wearing masks at the beginning because we started wearing them right away. I don't know why. I saw something on television when it was in California, and because of working in the city with people being so close to me, I was wearing a mask before we even went to lockdown when I was going into the city. So I've noticed now that more people are wearing them, but at the beginning, a lot of people were not wearing them. And you still see people that are not, but I feel like everyone that is left here in Hoboken that didn't go off to a vacation home or to their families, they're all on board with the masks. So that is the part that is different, that there's fewer people and then everyone is all covered up. So definitely.
So you, sorry. So you were noticing people, and you were listening to California. How did you, when you heard about the lockdown, how did that affect you? I mean, what was your initial reaction to that?
I think because I, th- you know, I don't know if the California thing affected me as much as the China And then when I heard it in California, I realized it was really coming here in a big way, because I work in the fashion industry and a lot of people had trips planned. That was a big time to go overseas right before they really got it in a big way. So there was already chatter about it at my clients that were determining whether they were going to go on their business trips. I mean, of course, ultimately everything got canceled. So I think that was the big thing that was on the radar. And then when I heard about California was when I actually got online and thought I should order some masks. And actually, it's so funny. It took 2 months for them to come. They finally came like a week ago. So, but I had gotten masks from my clients who had people from Asia that sent them to us in the packages. So I didn't get masks from here. I got masks from my clients that got them from Asia, but otherwise I wouldn't have really had any. So yeah, but I think
Wow.
that's that. But definitely California was when you realized, okay, it's going to hit here in New York City soon. So yeah, that part has been strange because of course I haven't worked in that capacity of my job, which is really my full-time job. I go and I help in the store in the evenings and on the weekends, but my full-time job is in Manhattan. So my last day was Tuesday, March 17th. That was my last day in the city. And that was by choice, actually, because some of my clients were still working into the next week. But I had just I felt this discomfort of having people so close to me because they're on me, they're pinning me, they're, doing all sorts of stuff. And it just wasn't feeling comfortable, even though I was wearing a mask and I was wearing gloves. But at that point, some of my clients thought it was silly, because they weren't really on board with it yet. So it was this weird thing that the model is wearing a mask and has gloves on, but the people that are working on you. So I felt like I was starting to set guidelines, asking them to not have too many people touching me, only having a couple of people in the fitting. And then that's when I decided, no, this is the last day. I don't know if I'm coming back. So it was weird. Lots of
Wow.
stuff.
Yeah, how long have you lived? You haven't lived in Hoboken that long, have you? Right?
Oh, well, 8 years.
Oh, 8 years. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. I've been here.
So you really know Hoboken. So my question is, how do you think Hoboken is handling the crisis in the pandemic, as far as like what you learned from the government here in town, and what's been going on?
I think that Ravi has been amazing. I really do think he has done such a great job. And the fact that we actually were shelter in place before Manhattan, and he's been very, very strict with the public, and rightfully so. I feel like he's made the right choices and kept everyone up to date. He sends that email every single night. And so, and has made it very clear where to get tested, what's available, who can get it. So I think from the government standpoint in town, things have been handled really well, really well. And then it's been, I mean, this is the thing I love about Hoboken, and I've been here for 8 years, but I've been in the area for 15. I lived up in the Jersey City Heights
Okay.
for 7, 8 years before I moved down here. But I love the sense of community here. I love that every night at 7 o'clock, we're doing the same thing that they do in Manhattan and cheering on the workers that, that we have multiple charities here in Hoboken. Everyone wants to pitch in. Like, I feel like everyone wants to help the businesses, that they want to help all the essential workers because they want to maintain Hoboken and maintain it, so that people can stay in business. They really care about what it's like to live here, and I feel like that has been made me want to stay here even more. Like, I love Hoboken, and I always did, even when I lived in the Heights, because I'm from Boston, and it reminded me of Boston, the brownstones, and I always thought, oh, I want to live in Hoboken. It reminds me of home. And yeah, I just think it's a great community. I don't think you get that in a lot of places. I think we're special here. I really like it here. So yeah.
Now, I obviously know a lot about your Cookies for a Cause, but
Mm-hmm.
when people are reading this, they won't know anything about it. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we did a fundraiser and we raised $2,000 for the frontline workers and for the Hoboken, the shelter. We actually last night did 70 meals, hot meals. We did hot meals for the shelter with in conjunction with Hudson Table. So what we did was we worked with Hudson Cakery, who was supposed to do or is doing our wedding cake. We were supposed to be married on May 2nd, and it is postponed until October 17th. So when we went in there for our cake tasting, it was so apparent how hard these businesses are being hit, and then how we wanted to support some of the frontline people. So what we decided was, and Jeff, my partner, he was the one that made the suggestion that we would have we got Advance Realty to donate the money to make the cookies, and then we sold them for $5 a piece at the store and at the Shepherd and the Knucklehead in Hoboken. And then we took those funds and we fed the EMS for the volunteers for free meals, and we did like I said, the shelter, and we donated any cookies that were donated back to the school and to the shelter. And I think we have funds to do one more meal somewhere. So that was our way of getting involved. And there's other things too. We did some fundraising things with Flag and some cookies that they did separately with another girl in town, and they just brought cookies to all of the essential workers at the grocery stores. So we did that separately from the Cookies for a Cause. So yeah.
So what was that like to make emotionally to have your wedding postponed?
It's funny because we're older, and it wasn't going to be a huge wedding. We're probably going to have 60 people. So the disappointing part was that, we had it in our mind that we would already be married by now. But we live together. We've been together over 5 years. So it's disappointing, but I think not disappointing in the way if you were in your 20s and we're having 200 people. It really didn't affect us that much because I canceled it early on enough that I was able to get almost all my vendors again and get the same space. So it's just transporting everything that was going to happen in May is now going to happen in October. So from our standpoint, not a huge deal. And based on everything that's going on, really not a huge deal. And our focus has been to maintain the store and to keep our employees employed. So that has been our biggest focus, and also keeping them safe. So we closed the store to the public that week of March. I think we went into shelter in place on March 18th or something like that. And we closed the store the next day because we didn't know we were essential. But we soon found out that alcohol is essential. So we're like, oh, okay, we're essential. But so we opened back up on Friday, and that's when we only let people. I think that first Friday, I don't remember when we implemented calling and emailing for orders. At one point, we were just letting people tell us what they wanted, at the door, and then we would get it for them. So that whole thing has evolved because we weren't set up to do that. We were not really We've not been in business 2 years. We've been doing deliveries, but it's not our main, it hasn't been our main focus. We get a lot of traffic from Trader Joe's. So, and the neighborhood. So really, our focus has been on maintaining the store and, you know, getting that whole thing up and running. In a way, it's been good because we know that, you know, or at least we feel, we don't know, but we feel that this is probably going to come around again. Um, you know, in the fall or whenever, we don't know what's going to happen. So it's really focused us on making sure we have a better website and that we can have it online and easier for customers to just go and order online, because that has definitely hurt us a little bit as far as sales go, because we weren't ready. We just weren't ready. We couldn't have possibly anticipated it. So it's pushed us to really get that up and running, you know, and we're going to change our, you know, POS system, our point of service system. And so it's more compatible that people can just go online and have their shopping cart. And so we've been doing it in a very convoluted way. And thank goodness we have a lot of great, loyal customers that have kind of hung in there with us. But it's definitely been a challenge. So, yeah.
Do you have any interesting or memorable moments related to some of your experiences with your clients during this time?
You mean our clients at the
Liquor
store?
store. Yeah.
Um,
Anything unusual that
no,
sticks
not
in?
that I can think of. You know, Jeff might more so have those because when I was in there, I'm you know on the register and helping them just process stuff. He's more in
Mhm.
contact with people. I know that you know there were I want to say 3 other couples on that May 2nd that were supposed to get married. So people were sending them, you know, champagne, and so other people that had.
Oh,
So that was kind of fun, you know. You people that you feel like you have this connection with because they were supposed to share the same day. So we've had stuff like that. That's been fun, and I'm sure that you know Jeff's had some great, you know, support from people that have, you know, will call and place a huge order with us because they still want to support us. So he's had a lot of close contact with those customers, and he always does because he's, you know, the point person in the store placing people's, you know, personal selections really. So that part
ha-
has been nice. Yeah.
has it been hard on him since he's very much a people person?
Yes, yes. Poor Jeff. He's pretty exhausted, you know, because there's things that he handles for the store that really no one else handles and no one else knows, because he has the knowledge. He is the one that's doing the ordering for the store for all the wine and the spirits. He has somebody that helps with the beer ordering and does all that stuff. But so he's been pretty inundated with that kind of stuff and handling what we're going to carry and the volume, and things have changed significantly because instead of people coming in and hand selecting their stuff and asking Jeff, and people have asked him, they trust him over on you know, online, but there a lot of people are just switching over to very big recognizable things, and that's really changed how he's bringing stuff into the store. So that a lot of that has been extra work, and really the whole system in general of the emails. People email us, we have to like print them out, we have to check to see if we have the stuff, then we have to email them back. I mean, some of it we've gotten to the point now just on the fly working with somebody, you know, technical support that was able to upload the stuff onto our very bad webpage. And so at least this things are out there. We're trying to update it. I'm assuming like on a daily basis, they update to say what's on the website. But there's always those glitches that people want stuff. We don't have it. You know, they're sending emails. They think we have it because they've got it there before. So that stuff has been, I think, incredibly draining on Jeff. And then also trying to troubleshoot for what we're going to do in the future. So yeah, I feel bad. He's pretty exhausted. And that's why we were closing on Mondays, but we actually added Sunday and Monday because we didn't have enough staff. We've had some people that just didn't feel comfortable working in the store. So we found ourselves at the very beginning, there were a few weeks that we were so understaffed. So everyone that was in there we were just working. I mean, it was nonstop. There were no time for breaks. Yeah. Because, and rightfully so, a lot of people, if they're living with an older parent, and that was most of it. We have people that, one woman, she takes care of her mother and she's in her 90s. And then a couple of our younger guys, they live with their parents that have health conditions. So we just all of a sudden lost a lot of employees at once. So,
Wow.
but we see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit. We're going to start to open, not fully open, but let maybe 5 people in at a time. So we're allowed to because we're essential, and other stores have been open the whole time, but we just didn't feel comfortable, and our staff didn't feel comfortable. So we just decided it was the right thing to do, was to not have people come in the store. But I think now that it's trickling down and we feel like most people are on board, we wouldn't let anyone in without a mask anyway. But at least we feel like it feels safer to let people in a little bit at a time, and we'll see how it goes. It'll be easier on us too.
I'm always curious about how people handle meals, like their dinner together or whatever, and how that has maybe changed since the lockdown or shelter in place. Has it changed for you? Having
us?
dinner together. Yeah, you guys.
You know what? Since we changed the hours to we close at 7 now instead of 10, so we've definitely had more dinner together. We eat together almost every night. So, and before it was probably maybe twice a week. We wouldn't, maybe, yeah, I would say twice a week, because even if Jeff wasn't closing, sometimes he wouldn't get home until 9 o'clock. Even if he wasn't staying until the end of the shift, he would just get caught up doing stuff. And I ultimately would end up having dinner on my own, because I'd get home, I'd walk the dog, and next thing you know, it's 7:30. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to eat dinner. Are you really coming, or are you just saying you're coming? So that part has been nice, that we've had that extra time together. And I like that. So that part is good.
How about seeing you both have family? I'm wondering how you're handling that, being away from family.
Well, for both of us, my family's in Boston and New Hampshire, and his family's in Philadelphia. So for me, it really, I really want to go home and visit, and I want to see my nephew. But we FaceTime every week, and we always have FaceTimed a lot, because my nephew is just 4.5. So ever since he was born, I FaceTime with them more, because I don't want to all of a sudden see him and he's grown so much. So I still we try and stay in contact that way, and that part has been fun, because it's not just my brother and my sister-in-law and my nephew, but my other brother, and they've been we have a log cabin in New Hampshire, so they'll FaceTime with me. I feel like they're all on vacation up there at the cabin, and I want to go. But Jeff, he hasn't, he was going down to see his dad every 2 or 3 weeks, because he has Parkinson's. And because Jeff has more likelihood of being exposed here, he hasn't obviously gone down. The only one that's gone down to see his dad is, he has a live-in caretaker, and then there's somebody else that comes in and checks on him. But even his sisters who live near his dad, they'll just drop food and stuff outside on the doorstep. They'll
Oh,
run errands and drop it outside because they want to make sure that he is protected. So that, of course, I'm sure has been difficult for his family, but my family's so small, not so much. Yeah, but I like the FaceTiming. The FaceTiming has been good to get to see, like I said about staying connected with friends. Even that I think is been nice, so.
are there any groups like book
Oh, I think I
that
lost you.
part of, or
Oh, I missed.
I mean, I maybe I wasn't speaking loud enough. Are there any organizations that you belong to? Maybe it's book clubs or, religious organization, anything that has changed for you and how you come together with these people?
You know what? I do not belong to any
Okay.
of those kind of organizations. I do have friends, theater friends in Boston that long friends for over 20 years. So we've had a few, little cocktail soirees together, which is, fun. And next time they're trying to plan some crazy karaoke thing that we're going to
Oh,
online. So, yeah, so no organizations, but like I said, definitely seeing people that are far away that I normally don't get to see. And now they're home and not traveling for their jobs. They're friends that are always busy, 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 traveling for their jobs. You feel lucky that you even get them on the phone sometimes. So that part has been actually nice because I feel like they're home because they can't travel for work. So, we get to spend those little, bits of time, 2 or 3 hours on the phone, with your friends that are not local. And yeah, so even though I don't have any organized groups, I feel like we've organized groups. We've done some organizing with friends, and there's stuff. It's funny because I found something came through my email yesterday for I'm a big animal person, like North Shore Animal League and Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, and they're having like a bartending cocktail thing online, and then some famous jewelry designer, and she's going to show you how to layer. And I thought, oh, that's kind of fun. Maybe I'll do that. So there's definitely more opportunities out there to do stuff than there would normally be. And I hope after this is over, I do actually know what I've been doing online is I belong to a yoga studio in town, Urban Souls. So I've been doing yoga online with them. So I like that you can kind of squeeze in more stuff. If that sounds, you have more time, so you get to do more things and see more people virtually, of course. It'd be nice to see people in person, but
how do you think this will, or do you think this will change Hoboken go in down the road in the future? Do you see what any effects? Do you imagine what effects this might have on the town, or even on yourself from your experiences that you've been having?
um,
The positive ones, obviously.
I mean, certainly in the short term, it's going to change things. I think for a while, maybe even a year or so. I think that financially, a lot of these businesses are maybe not going to make it. Especially, we have so many restaurants. So we were already on this big trend here in Hoboken with more bigger, big box companies coming in, like Anthropology, like Sephora, like the Gap. So I don't know. I don't know if what that is going to look like, if we're going to have more of that, even more, because there'll be even more opportunity for them to move in, because people that have been in spaces for a long time might not survive. So, I mean, I think we've already been moving in that direction, and hopefully, we can maintain more of the small businesses here, but it's hard to say. But I do think that might change. That part might change. And definitely dining out is for sure going to change. Even when we open back up, uh, I'm not sure. You'll have to see how comfortable you feel. I'm not sure how comfortable I'm going to feel. A lot of the places that we go to are small little places that are packing as many people in as possible. So I don't, yeah, I don't know what that's going to look like, because I think a lot of people, some people will feel totally fine and a lot of people won't feel comfortable. So maybe they'll be doing more small dinner parties at home, or, that's what I think, at least for myself. Like, okay, maybe I would do a dinner party at home so that there's like 6 people and you're not on top of each other. Because you know how it is in Hoboken. It's, like we
Yeah.
love to go to a couple of restaurants and you're waiting outside for an hour just to get in because they're so small. And so I think that will change. I think the face of the businesses might change. Um, yeah, so it'll look different for sure. Yeah.
Is there anything that you learned about yourself that surprised you?
I don't think surprised me, but I do feel like rekindled because I feel like I haven't had time to, tend to my plants and do research on it. And I've been singing more, which I haven't done, and I haven't done professionally in over 10 years. And so I feel like being home, I've been listening to music and I've been doing more creative stuff. I'm working on a project of this cork project for the store that I was going to do before we opened and didn't have time, and where I'm like doing this whole collage thing with them. So I feel like some of the stuff that I really enjoy and enjoyed as at growing up, but also enjoyed as a young adult. Um, I've had time to kind of get my hands back into, and I like that. I feel like sometimes, you know, you're busy and you're doing a job because you're making a living, of course. But then you realize, okay, well, is this how much of that really represents me, like me as a person? And I feel like I'm a really creative person, and I like to. I'm always doing research on stuff and wanting to learn new things, and I'm curious, and so I just feel like I've had a lot more time to do that, and so that's been fun. And I think that's kind of what I was saying at the very beginning about being able to be home and spend some time by myself. I actually, you know, am more of an introvert, personally. Um, so it's been nice to be able to do that stuff and find the things that you love to do that you wouldn't normally, have the time for. And it's funny because Jeff and I were supposed to move, and I don't think that's going to happen either because just finances have changed without me working and all that kind of stuff. But we have no outdoor space here. We were going to have a balcony there, but originally the idea was to get a little backyard space. And I think maybe I'm going to step back, and when we can, get back into the market and maybe get a different place that has a little outdoor space, maybe I'll revisit that again because I really like to garden, and even just tending to my outdoor plants has been fun. When I lived in the Heights, I was part of I had my own plot in the community garden up there where I would grow flowers and herbs and tomatoes and stuff like that. So, which is meditative. I think a lot of that stuff for me is meditative. I'll be listening to my little self-help stuff on my earphones and doing my gardening or working on the corks, or so it's fun. Yeah. Yeah. So that part is good. I think I'm gonna hopefully, when things come back to normal, I'll maintain more of that in my life. Taking time to do the more creative stuff rather than getting stuck in the everyday stuff. that doesn't really feed your soul, and it's not really who you are. Yeah.
It's great. Gretchen, thank you so much for this interview. Hold on for 1 second. Now I'm going to stop the interview and we're going to chat just afterwards. So hold on. Stop recording.